Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. And I know I talked about Martin Shkreli last week when he was trying to sell off his $2 million Wu-Tang Clan album, right? And on eBay. So far, by the way, that's up to about $1 million, I think. And it's probably gonna shoot up given this particular situation. So it says here that a judge sent Martin Shkreli to jail for Facebook post offering bounty on Hillary Clinton's hair. Now, this is on CNBC, and you read a headline like this and you think to yourself, is this The Onion? Because to me, when I first read this, and it was trending earlier today, I thought that it was a joke. I thought that it was a headline, and it's possible he intended it as a joke. Now, it says here that an angry federal judge revoked the $5 million bond of convicted fraudster Martin Shkreli on Wednesday and ordered him jailed after ruling the notorious Pharmabro was a danger to the public because his offer on Facebook for cash for samples of Hillary Clinton's hair. Yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Judge Kaio Matsumoto's ruling came at a hearing in Brooklyn Federal Court where Shkreli's high-powered lawyer Benjamin Brofman pleaded with her for nearly an hour not to toss him in jail, despite what the attorney said was a stupid Facebook post. And it is a stupid Facebook post. Offering $5,000 for a lock of Hillary Clinton's hair, believe it or not, that actually, even intended as a joke, goes against free speech. It's not free speech because you're actually trying to incite some form of action on somebody else, right? And you could sit there and say trying to attack her and cut off a lock of her hair would be considered an act of violence. Therefore, it is not protected under free speech. That's why his ass got tossed in jail. And it came a day after Shkreli, 34, apologized for posting a $5,000 bounty last week to any of his 70,000 Facebook followers who grabbed some of Clinton's hair, saying he used poor judgment with his awkward attempt at humor. And I agree that it was an awkward attempt at humor. I do. I've watched his live streams. I've watched this guy. I would agree that that is an awkward attempt. But the way that it was structured, it doesn't really fly. It doesn't really fly because, oh, it was a joke. It's a joke argument doesn't work all the time. Saying here, it's not going to happen again. His lawyer vowed about his client, who has a long history of baiting adversaries online. I'm asking you to give him a chance to be more appropriate. Yeah, that's what a lawyer's going to do. Federal prosecutor Jacqueline Casoulis, who appeared to be seething about the disgraced pharmaceutical executive's post about Clinton and other women, said Wednesday, I think his escalating pattern of violence against women is incredibly disturbing. All right, that might be, that's lawyer talk for like, I'm just trying to make this as bad as I possibly can to get this federal judge to do what I wanted to do. But I do think the post about Hillary Clinton's hair was absolutely ridiculous. He is reckless. He knows exactly what he's doing. He needs to go in. Casoulis said to a packed courtroom that included Shkreli's father. I would agree he's reckless. I would absolutely agree he's reckless. But I don't know if I'd go as far as say he knows exactly what he's doing. I'd say that he's probably as much of an idiot as the rest of us in these particular situations. It is clearly beyond any reasonable doubt that Mr. Shkreli is a danger to the community. He is not special by any stretch of the imagination. So all of this is beyond any reasonable doubt that he is a danger to the community, but he's also just not special. I find that line to be kind of funny. You figure if someone is a danger to the community, then they're special because they're a danger to the community. If they're just like everybody else, then how would they be anything more than a normie? And a normie is not dangerous to the community. I think the argument there is kind of stupid. I think it's kind of stupid. Matsumoto said she didn't find anything funny about either Shkreli's posts about Clinton or his online boasts during his trial in July that he would get to fuck a female journalist with whom he had feuded since January, as well as a female political pundit once his trial ended. Oh, man, you got it, man. Yeah, those comments, they look, here's the thing. Those comments, well, not the same as the bounty on Hillary Clinton's hair. Those will come back to bite you in the butt. That's one of the reasons why these kind of comments come back up later on. They will be used against you. While you might say something in the moment, you might say something as a joke, they might be used against you. So it is probably for the best to always be aware of what's going on and what you post online. Trust me, certain jokes I've made years ago have come back to bite me in the ass. Stuff that I've said that's horrifically insensitive, has come back to bite me in the butt. And you know what? I deserve it because I said it and it came back to bite me in the butt. You know, just because I say something, I have freedom of speech, doesn't mean freedom from consequences. People can be critical of something. That's just the truth of it, which is, you know, I mean, hey, unfortunate because no one likes to be criticized. But at the same time, it's like, well, they have a right to do it. So I don't really have, I don't have a legal recourse to stop them unless it's defamatory. Zoe Quinn. So saying here that he's soliciting an assault on another person for $5,000, Matsumoto said. The judge noted that no one knew whether any of Shkreli's followers would take him up on that bizarre offer, either in a legitimate desire for cash or a bid to gain his approval, which is true, which is why something like that is not being upheld as free speech, because you don't know if somebody's going to do it. People who have a platform are popularity standing in the community, like they've got to be very aware of how they say things. There is a responsibility there. It's unfortunate. Nobody wants it. You want to tell stupid jokes. You want to say stupid things, and you can, but there's going to be a cost. In this case, his ass is thrown in jail for a dumb thing that's not protected by the First Amendment. She noted that even when Shkreli tried to portray the offer as satire in a subsequent Facebook post, he wrote that he would pay the bounty only if the hair included a follicle. Oh my God. The fact that he continues to remain unaware of the inappropriateness of his actions or other words demonstrates to me that he may be an ongoing danger or risk to the community. Again, I don't think that, but what he's saying is just so asinine and so stupid. I can see where they're coming from, but they're also, you can see here that she's probably trying to justify throwing him back in jail. So there's that. The judge also noted that once defendants are convicted in federal court, as Shkreli was in August, there is a legal presumption that their bail will be revoked. Okay. She's saying here, I'm going to remand Mr. Shkreli, Matsumoto said. A somber-looking Shkreli wearing a purple dress shirt and saggy mop of hair was taken into custody by 2 U.S. Marshals just after 6 p.m. as his grim-faced legal team stood by. We are obviously disappointed, Braffman said once outside the court to reporters. We believe the court arrived at the wrong decision, but she's the judge, and right now we'll have to live with this decision. I mean, clearly they're gonna appeal it. Obviously, they're being paid to. It's unfortunate. It was unfortunately avoidable, but the judge has ruled, and she is the judge. It was unfortunately avoidable. Yeah, it was all avoidable if he just didn't say it. There's still responsibility for what he said there. That's the point I'm trying to make. I think anyone who knows Shkreli, like, has followed him for a long time since the Pharmabro thing and everything else. I've watched his live streams. I've watched his stuff. He's, you know, you can kind of tell what it is. You can tell what it is. But at the same time, you don't know. If I were to make a comment like, oh, someone should go, you know, I could sit there and this is a hypothetical, just kind of whatever. Someone should go punch this one person in the face, right? And someone went and did it, and they were a follower of mine, I could get in trouble for that. Even though I didn't fully say it, they could sit there and argue in court. Well, yeah, but they suggested it, and this person's influential. There's arguments to be made there. It's why we have to be very careful with this kind of stuff. That's why I have to be careful with how I say things when I make videos or when I talk about certain people. Yes, I have my opinions. Yes, I can say what I think, but I also have to be very careful not to make allegations that cannot be backed up. You know, so I have to be very, very careful. Shkreli will be held in federal jail, the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, until a sentencing on securities fraud charges on January 16th, which Matsumoto scheduled Wednesday. Shkreli's Facebook post last week about Clinton sparked an inquiry from the U.S. Secret Service, who also, in response, beefed up their protective measures for the former Secretary of State and the 2016 Democratic presidential nominee amid her ongoing book tour. By the way, you can find video of Laura Loomer from The Rebel going to her book tour in, I think it was like New York yesterday, and periscoping asking her about Seth Rich. It was cringeworthy, but it's also interesting to watch because she got kicked right the hell out afterward. And prosecutors then asked Matsumoto to jail Shkreli, saying in a court filing that his recent public conduct demonstrates he cannot meet his post-trial burden to show by clear and convincing evidence that he does not pose a danger to the community. I don't think he poses a danger to the community. He's just an asshole, right? And anyone who knows him probably knows that, and anyone who follows the internet probably knows that. Knows internet culture probably knows that. And I don't want to defend him. I really don't want to defend him. But I you know, what he said was dumb. and he is now paying the price for that. But he's not a danger to society. That's what I'm trying to say here. He's not a danger to society. Prosecutors point out that Shkreli's latest stunt came just weeks after being convicted of 3 securities fraud-related counts in Brooklyn federal court. Brofman at Wednesday's hearing used a slew of arguments to dissuade Matsumoto from revoking Shkreli's bond, as she appeared inclined to do almost from the moment she took the bench. I'm not making excuses for Mr. Shkreli, Brofman said. We had a long, painful discussion about this episode. I'm angry at him too. Yeah, because he's going to make you do more work. Brofman and Shkreli never intended for the post to be taken seriously, noting that Shkreli had also written about using her hair to clone Clinton, and that he was dismayed to find out that people might believe otherwise. People are crazy out there. So if you're like, I want a follicle, I want a cloner, it's like, that could be a very odd thing. Stupid doesn't make you violent. That's very true. Stupid does not make you violent at all, period. And that's the whole point here. He's stupid, but what he said and how he phrased it could be viewed as promoting a violent act against somebody, which is not protected by the First Amendment. But Brofman suggests that Shkreli, a purported supporter of President Donald Trump with a long-standing animus to Clinton, was merely engaging in the sort of scathing, hyperbolic political hyperbole, that's an odd sentence to say there, that has become increasingly common in America. Brofman said that that kind of speech, no matter how offense, is not constitutionally protected, which was my entire argument, right? My entire argument here. The lawyer also argued that Shkreli has been lashing out on social media in response to being demonized by the public in the past 2 years after raising the price of the anti-parasite drug by 5,000% in 2015. Yeah, when you're called Pharmabro, a lot of people hate you. And a lot of people are happy he's in jail. And he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. If his entire reasoning for upgrading this drug price 5,000% was to fund research on the drug, he should have come out and been more open about that kind of stuff and gone on some kind of tour to explain it. Instead, he sat there with the Pharmabro look, that smug look that made people hate him because he gets off on being the villain. And as a result, it caught him no favors when this particular situation went down. Brofman offered to have Shkreli make a full-throated disavowal of his Clinton bounty online Wednesday, to be willingly banned from all social media by the judge, and to generally behave from now on until he is sentenced. He kept arguing his points for nearly 20 minutes after Matsumoto first said she would revoke his bond, in an increasingly desperate effort to the judge to change her mind. Yeah, 20 minutes going off about this is pretty crazy. In a letter to Matsumoto on Tuesday, Shkreli had written, "I wanted to personally apologize to this court and my lawyers for the aggravation that my recent postings have caused." Again, not a danger to society, but this feels like a kid who got caught and he's just like, I have to write a letter apologizing for my actions, not because I really care, but because this is what's going to get me out of trouble. I used poor judgment, but never intended to cause alarm or promote any act of violence whatsoever, he wrote, adding that he had quickly amended his post to make clear he had just been joking. But by that point in time, who knows how many people saw it without that. The intent doesn't necessarily matter even though context does matter, it may not have been witnessed that way by the judge, and it clearly wasn't. Shkreli's lawyer, in his own letter to Matsumoto, wrote, "While we do not condone Mr. Shkreli's comment, his constitutionally protected political hyperbole does not rise to the level of making a danger to the community when he is not and has never been considered a danger." But you can't sit there and offer $5,000 for a hair follicle of Hillary Clinton in a case like that, on a public social media post. It doesn't fly that way. And Brofman said that Shkreli should never have been jailed because he doesn't intend any harm or any violence. He may not have intended it. Doesn't mean somebody else is going to look at it that way. The lawyer disputed prosecutors' contention that comments Shkreli's made online about Clinton and a journalist, Lauren Duca, constituted an escalating pattern of threats. Oh, good old Lauren Duca. Yeah, they had a weird thing back and forth. It got a little creepy too. Brofman suggested that Shkreli, who claims to be a supporter of President Donald Trump, was engaging in political hyperbole or satire in his comments about both women. Maybe Duca, and probably Clinton too. But again, the way he framed it is what got him in trouble. Brofman cited that the fact that comedian Kathy Griffith was not prosecuted after she posted online a photograph of herself holding what appeared to be the bloody severed head of Trump That's a different story. That's an artist piece that actually is protected. And if I call her correctly, she didn't actually post the photo. Someone else posted the photo. TMZ released the video footage, like behind the scenes stuff first. But at the same time, it was also like, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. Because she might have been holding the head, but she wasn't advocating for people going and getting the head. If Shkreli would have been holding up a piece, like a lock of Hillary Clinton's hair, and that would have been the photo, then it'd be the same exact damn thing. But instead, words and intent were put out there. So he says here that another example of political hyperbole is when President Donald Trump, as a candidate, caused a controversy last year by implying that Second Amendment people could prevent former Secretary Clinton from abolishing their right to bear arms. That's just, yeah, Trump made the suggestion, but again, it wasn't, they might have something to say about that, was not, I'll pay you $5,000 for a lock of hair. There's a difference there. The wording means something. Michael Bachner, a leading New York criminal defense lawyer, earlier Wednesday said that he did not believe Shkreli should have his bail revoked, saying here, if he had made the comments about another author who wasn't Clinton, I don't think there would be a bail revocation hearing going on right here, which is maybe true. But Clinton is high profile. She is a very public person. That's probably why it got more attention. And that's probably why it drew the level of ire that it did. Another big Apple lawyer, Gerald Lefcourt, said that while Shkreli probably should be allowed to remain free on bail, I think the judge is probably at wit's end with respect to his conduct. Probably. Matsumoto, during Shkreli's trial last summer, imposed a virtual gag order on him that barred him from talking about the case in public around the courthouse after he gave an impromptu press conference to reporters and called prosecutors in the case the junior varsity. This guy he likens himself to an internet villain, to an internet troll. That's what he likes to do. He likes to troll people. And those of us who dabble in the internet constantly, we understand how these things work. We understand it. We get it. We know it. But normies aren't going to know it. And when you make comments like that, like, I'll pay you $5,000 for a lock of hair with a follicle on it, even as a joke, we would joke about that, but you can see how the other people out there would not. Asked if he had ever seen a defendant in a criminal case who had been convicted, made such a public spectacle of himself as Shkreli has done since early August, Lefcourt said no, saying here he's just incapable of controlling himself, which is true. He is. I mean, look, he like I said, he likens himself an online badass. Like, whoa, we got a badass over here. Like that type of guy. He wants to be that kind of guy. He wants to be seen like that. And I think part of that, at least recently, has more to do with his friendship with Milo Yiannopoulos and how Milo is kind of like this self-appointed Oscar Wilde of the internet, And I have nothing against Milo. But Milo's level of trolling is done with the level of certain bravado, of certain, je ne sais quoi, right? Like there's something there with Milo. You can sit there and go, oh yeah, I can see what he's doing. Shkreli just comes across like a creeper. And that probably is why he's in the position that he's in. I don't feel bad he's in jail. I feel what he actually did very much goes in line with the idea that, it's something that wasn't protected by free speech. It was a direct act. It was a call to action. That is not protected. And that's why he is where he is. Now, will they be able to appeal this maybe with a different judge and get him out? Maybe. There's enough there that probably would be able to warrant getting him out. But in the meantime, the next couple of days he spends in jail, or however long he spends in jail, because when he gets sentenced in January, he faces up to 20 years in prison. So, it's entirely possible that Wu-Tang eBay bid will go completely unsold. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But in the meantime, I want Shkreli to actually take the time and reflect on his actions. There's nothing. This might be just a scare tactic by the judge to scare some sense into him. His lawyers couldn't do it. His fans wouldn't do it. They fed into that ego. They like that. They like that villainous aspect of him. But in the meantime, now he's stuck in in a 5x5 cell with 3 hots and a cot, and he'll be there for the foreseeable future. And he has no one to blame but himself. Hey guys, that wraps up this video. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so below. I love to read your guys' input. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to support the channel, there's the Amazon affiliate store, there's PayPal, there's Patreon, there's Bitcoin. And if you're bored and you want something else to watch, check out $3 Theater up here. My name is Matt Jarbo. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a wonderful day. Peace out.